to roll the dice. By chance they came upon a devil's game, and gosh, they paid the price. Paid the price. And now they're fighting for their lives on a mission fraught with dread. And if they proceed but don't succeed, well, the devil will take their heads.
Do you ever have one of those moments where something you've waited for the longest time finally gets released? Maybe it was a new book, a new movie of some sort, but for me, it was the Cuphead DLC. The Cuphead DLC was announced on June 10th, 2018, with a slated 2019 release date. To put that in perspective, I was just starting my freshman year of high school during that time. And now I'm about to go to college in the next 2 months. But sadly, the DLC was delayed again, and again, to the point where a lot of people, including myself, were questioning if the DLC would even be worth the wait. And now it's been a week, and Cuphead and the Delicious Last Course has finally arrived to all platforms. And my god, was it worth the wait.
It's here, the delicious last course.
Cuphead and the Delicious Last Course is an expansion DLC that adds new bosses, weapons, charms, and a brand new playable character with a story to tie it all together. After the events of the main game, Cuphead and Mugman are requested by the legendary Chalice to a new land with a new mission, that being to give the Chalice the ability to become mortal again. And with the help of a new character, Chef Saltbaker, he can make a dish that will bring the Chalice back to life permanently. But he needs certain ingredients to do so, and that's where you come in. So it's up to you to fight all the bosses to collect the ingredients to do so. And thanks to the cookie Miss Chalice gives you at the beginning of the DLC, you are now able to play as the character not only in the DLC, but the main game itself. First I'm going to go over the DLC and what it brings to the game, then how all this new stuff works with the main game, and then some overall opinions and thoughts about the DLC with the game as a whole. Every boss fight in the DLC is constructed under the same foundation of the base game's boss fights. A bullet hell shooter where dodging and shooting is the name of the game. When you die, the game displays how far you got into the boss fight, bringing a driving force to try again. And with the boss design and structure still being top-notch from Studio MDHR, these bosses will last a good long while, especially with there being 7. I should preference at this moment that I indeed did play this DLC with a friend, and we got through the whole thing together in a single night. Though I will say it right here, right now, he was mostly responsible for all the deaths that happened in that run. Glumstone the Giant is the first boss of the DLC, and while one of the easier bosses, was still a very enjoyable time trying to get farther and farther into the fight. The animation work here is just... well, it's Studio MDHR, what else can I really say about it? It looks absolutely phenomenal. And that goes for all the bosses of the DLCs. Like, holy cow, did this DLC go hard just for being a DLC. If I were to rank this boss, this would probably be on the weakest boss of the DLC, but it's still a good fight, and to my knowledge, it was intentionally designed that way for those who haven't played Cuphead in a long time. Next up is Mortimer Freeze, an Ice Theme boss, with some interesting gimmicks thrown into the mix, mostly being in his second phase. While still not exactly being the hardest boss, it's still a very unique boss fight that is very creative and challenging. Still easy for the most part, but still a bit challenging. The next fight is the Howling Aces. Oh my gosh, this level just looks gorgeous. A fight that consists of limited platforming and managing to get your shots in while paying attention to where you're landing. I really like this boss and the ideas it has, and the little things it does to keep you on your toes, like flipping the screen sideways and upside down. Average boss fight here. I won't say anything much about it, even though when me and my friend played it, it was kicking our butts because of the part where it flips the screens, and it not only does that, but it flips your controls around. This got a bit frustrating, so in order to remedy that, me and my friend would just tilt our heads sideways whenever we play. I'd recommend it. Great boss fight. Next up is Ethester Winchester. I'm pretty sure that's how you say that. A plain stage, which might be one of my favorite out of all of them in the game, including the base game. Though your first time finding this might be a bit overwhelming due to how much stuff is coming at you at the screen, like oh my gosh, there's so much stuff coming towards you in this game. But with patience, you can learn the pattern pretty good, and just in general, the idea of this boss is amazing. I really like this boss. I especially love the part when she turns into sausage at the end of the boss battle. I thought that part was just unique enough. Next up is the Moonshine Mob, an insect mafia, which is just a neat concept in general, and actually has a callback to the first boss being a reference to a cut boss from the first game. That's ingenious. I was not expecting that, and I actually had to go back and check to make sure I wasn't, missing things. But no, this is actually supposed to be a loving reference to that boss. The third phase is a bit challenging, and that fake out part was just so good. I won't lie, that got me. Wasn't really funny when I had 1 HP and died immediately afterward, but still, that's just clever. And with that, that's all the ingredients. And it's up to Chef Saltbaker to make the delicious last course to bring the chalice back to life. Except that doesn't happen. Instead, Chef Saltbaker plans to steal one of the hero's souls in order to rule over the non-mortal plane. So you gotta stop him. To be fair, I was literally shouting right at my friend the whole time. I was like, you watch, he's gonna be evil. He's gonna be evil, I tell ya. And then when we got to the bakery again, I was like, oh, there's a hatch, he's evil. We walked down there, I was like, oh, he's totally evil. Then I saw the silhouette, I'm like, yep, he's evil. I'd like to think I'm the only one who thought that. Anyway, this boss fight is just pure visual candy. The animations on Chef Saltbaker look beautiful and fully show how powerful and evil he can truly be. To be fair, when me and my friend first got to this fight, we honestly thought that it was actually the devil or King Dice possessing him at the time. And look at him. Now look at King Dice. Look. They even smile the same. You can't tell me that somebody didn't think it other than me. And for a final boss fight, this rocks. A very challenging fight at the start, though I feel like it's a lot like the devil where it gets progressively easier as it goes on. That was just me. It did take me a while to actually beat this fight, but it was still good. Nice final conclusion to the end of the DLC. And with that, the day is saved, and while the chalice wasn't able to return to normal, she's content with living as a spirit, and thanks Cuphead and Mugman for their help. Ties the story of Cuphead with a nice little bow, and there are some things that I didn't mention that are included with the DLC, that being the new weapons and charms. The 3 new weapons included in this DLC are the Crack Shot, the Converge, and the Twist Up. The Crack Shot fires with good damage, but at a certain distance breaks apart into auto-aimed projectiles, making for a far better version of the Chaser Shot. The Converge is a full-screen 3-way shot, with locking your aim causing the bullets to become more narrow in their shots. And while this seems to be a replacement for the spread shot in the base game, it's technically less powerful due to the Converge covering the entire screen, so take that with what you will. And lastly is the Twist Up, a weapon that fires directly upwards and can be used greatly on bosses that are above you. Though I can't really find a use for it other than that, it's kinda sorta underutilized in a way in most boss fights. I'm sorry, that was just me for the most part. And now onto the charms. The 3 new charms included are the Astral Cookie, the Unknown Artifact, and the Heart Ring. The Astral Cookie is a charm you get the moment you start the DLC that allows you to play as Miss Chalice in place as the character you're currently playing. And no, don't think you can just play 2-player and have 2 Miss Chalices. And I do like the fact that Studio MDHR actually went out of their way to create alternate opening animations for Cuphead and Mugman if 2 players joined and they both equipped the cookie. That was just ingenious. I just loved that little part. That was just great. She has a different playstyle compared to the Cup brothers, having a floatier jump, double jump, a dash parry, invincible roll, and 1 extra HP. The catch being that you won't be able to have a charm slot because, well, she's taking up the charm slot. Being one of the main selling points of the DLC, I can say Miss Chalice was a great addition. She did take some time to get used to, as to with any new character, but after a few goes, she became a really good asset to the bosses. Especially when it came to parrying. It was so much better to just dash into the parries rather than having to jump, then make sure I press the jump button at the correct time. It just made it so much easier, just trust me. The next charm is the Heart Ring. This charm will give you HP bonuses for successfully landing parries. 1 HP for every first parry, third parry, and sixth parry. This is a very handy charm for some boss fights that encourage parrying, and can help people in the main game achieve S ranks much easier, with the HP requirement for them only being 3 HP. Though I didn't use it often, I can see how someone else could use it to their own advantage, especially when trying to get P rankings in the running guns. Like, you just get that, and oh my lord, they're so much better now. Like, especially the Carnival one. That one drove me insane trying to get a P rank on until I got the ring, and then it just became a matter of just making sure I had 2 HP till the end. And lastly is the Unknown Artifact. While the artifact does nothing on its own, the process of getting it to do something is like nothing I've seen in this game before. A ghost to the side gives you a hint as to what you should do to solve the puzzle. But to solve it, all you need to do is equip the artifact, talk to these 3 NPCs up here, as they will give you clues on which gravestones you should touch in order to find the secret boss. Though for someone like me who didn't know what he was doing throughout this entire process, I found just pressing random gravestones and combinations to work too. Like, I just did it for like a good 10 minutes and then boom, I unlocked it. I don't know what I did, just don't ask me. But once you get the right combination, you get to fight a secret boss. This is one of the coolest looking bosses in the game from looks alone, but not exactly one of the most challenging. No multiple stages and no ranking to clear either, just shoot until you're done. And while the idea of your main target switching sides every time you switch sides is a good idea, but here I don't think it was utilized as well as it could be. But regardless, after the boss is defeated, the broken artifact becomes the Cursed Relic, an item that will swap your items and charms in boss fights at random, and reducing your HP to 1, making this charm, in a way, extra hard mode. And this charm is pretty fun to mess around with. I doubt I'll ever use it for a full run of the game, but glad we got something chaotic like this. Now all we need is a boss rush mode where all the bosses are randomized, and then we have a perfect Cuphead randomizer right there. It's just right there, I'm just saying. That could have been cool. And we're still not done, because one thing's missing from this DLC, and that's the running gun stages. These levels are how we would get coins in the main game, so now if they're missing, how do we even get coins? Well, that's where the King's League comes in. These are a set of challenge rooms that reward the player with coins for successfully beating the challenges. The rooms focus on parry attacks, as it's the only way to damage any of the challenges in these rooms. And for this part, I think it was utilized great, considering that these rooms were probably built to help you adjust to the Chalice's moveset better. And all of these rooms are great. Some of the rooms are more challenging than others, but as a new way to get more coins, I'll take it. Definitely more unique and inventive than just adding in more running gun stages. Also, I should add the reason why I kept dying over and over on the first one is because I didn't understand how their jump arcs work. Also, my friend was screwing me up, so blame him. And that's kind of it for the main stuff of the DLC. Of course, now you can take all this new stuff you got in the DLC and play with it in the main game. And being able to play these old bosses with new trinkets was pretty fun, especially with the Chalice and her moveset. Though, it is to be mentioned, since the main game was not built with her in mind, and the bosses and running guns were not adjusted to accommodate for her moveset, some parts of those levels have been made really easy to avoid thanks to a few well-made double jumps and parry dashes. But I see that as more of a reward for beating the base game, as you can't access the DLC till you beat the final boss of the base game anyway. And that's Cuphead and the delicious last course. Even though we covered all the stuff that the DLC has to offer, I'd like to finish this video off with my overall thoughts on the whole DLC. For its price of only $8, this DLC gives you so much back. In a world that's full of loot boxes, skins, and texture packs and texture swaps for the same price, if not more, the Cuphead DLC not only adds new content into the game, but gives the base game even more replay value. That is much more than almost any new DLC nowadays can say. All this content I listed in this video for only $8. I have nothing but respect for the people who work at Studio MDHR. They have put their hearts and soul into these games, and I honestly am very happy that they not only stuck to their guns when releasing this DLC, but made it out of love and passion for the game they were making and the materials that they were using to make it with. And all in all, I wish their studio the best of luck in the future. Whether that be a brand new Cuphead game in the future, or maybe just a completely new game, or any project in that matter to begin with, I will be there to support them probably till the end of time. So all in all, I can definitely recommend this DLC. Cuphead and the Delicious Last Course is available on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. All the links to all that can be found in the description below. Although there is one thing about this DLC that I don't like. It's not on the Tesla. What the heck's wrong with you, Studio MDHR? Do you even care? And hey, thanks for watching it. You made it to the end of my first actual game review on this channel, so thanks for doing that, and I really appreciate it. If you want to, you can follow me on my socials like Twitter, Newgrounds, or even check out all that stuff. It would be really cool if you went to go check all that stuff out. I make some stuff over there, and I like to think a lot of people enjoy it, and I hope that you would too. And also stick around. Subscribe if you want, because I got more stuff on the pipeline like... nah.